Welcome to Xsite Chats with successful multifamily real estate investors. Dr. Allen chats with successful investors exploring their journey from setback to triumph. Through this window, we glimpse the truths that inspire our guests to invest abundantly and flourish in all areas of life. And now your host, Dr. Allen.
Welcome to Creekside Chats with successful multifamily real estate investors, where we delve deep into the lives of our successful guests to learn the secrets of thriving to flourish abundantly in all areas of life. I'm your host, Dr. Allen. Today's guest is the Director of Operations and co-founder of Xsite Captial Investment. He bought his first investment property in 2017 and transitioned to multifamily investing in 2019 with the acquisition of a 192-unit apartment complex. He co-hosts a multifamily-focused meetup where he provides resources and adds value to individuals interested in growing their wealth and mindset. Welcome back to the show, Leslie Awasom.
Thanks for having me, Alan.
Well, we're going to try something new today with Leslie, and we're going to see where this goes. What I asked Leslie to do before coming onto the program is I showed him this ambiguous photo. This photo is actually from a series of 31 photos. It's from a test that is called the Thematic Apperception Test. And it is used extensively by psychoanalysts primarily, but that's not what we're using it for here today. But it's a projective test that is supposed to tell us something about the inner workings and inner thoughts of the individuals taking this test. And so we're going to find out, hopefully, a little bit more about Leslie here. So for you viewers out there, I'm going to show you this picture that Leslie wrote the story about, and then I'm going to have Leslie read the story. I haven't heard the story yet myself either, so we're going to hear it together here.
Right.
Just a moment here, Leslie, while I share this screen. And so viewers, there is the picture. So Leslie, read us your story.
All right. This was interesting, to say the least, Alan. So this is what I wrote down. Not quite sure what the backstory is, but looks like a young man in a very pensive state, deep state of thought, might be trying to figure out what he has in front of him. He looks slightly frustrated at being unable to figure this out. Thought can lead to solutions, although sometimes we get frustrated when we are unable to figure things out immediately. This moment of frustration and thinking can lead to great innovation and growth. It is these challenging moments that determine who we become. Embrace challenges. That's what I wrote down.
Okay, a very good story there. Okay, so tell us, Leslie, what about that photograph made you think that this little boy was puzzled about something?
Well, it's his posture with his hands on the jaw and part of his hands on the head, and he's looking at something in front of him. It's the look. It seems familiar to me. It's funny enough because I'm going to show you something here. I have this statue that sits in front of me. That's kind of like the same kind of a mood, and it's like a guy that is in deep thought thinking, and it's something that I do a lot. So that kind of related to me. So
okay. And so that's one thing we know about you is that you are a deep thinker and an analytic thinker. And so this is actually a photo of a little boy. And so do you see yourself in this little boy as a little boy?
absolutely, I did. I think I mentioned to you in our last conversations that one of the things I enjoyed as a child is getting caught in my own thoughts or thinking about things. So that to some extent, I did see myself in that kind of a deep thought, like the little boy trying to figure stuff out.
Yeah.
and realizing that some of the stuff that I tried to figure out and that were challenging at that point in time were some of the things that I learned the most from and got my most growth from. So I guess that's how I related to the picture.
Right. Um, and taking you back to your life today, and being the analytic and the pensive individual that you are, how is that contributing to your success today?
Actually, it can be detrimental to this in business, because when I started off, I spent too much time thinking. Sometimes you overthink stuff, you got to put a balance to the analysis and then what we call analysis paralysis, because if for example, like my profession, my W-2 profession as an anesthesia provider, it falls great in line with this kind of a method of thinking, because
Mm.
a lot of the work we do is mental. We got to think about all the possibilities of everything going wrong first before we meet the patient and start taking care of the patient, such that if that situation happens, we're able to handle it. But when you take that same kind of approach in business, in multifamily, it can make you stop. It can be advantageous because you look at all the numbers to make sure everything is working properly, all the numbers are aligned, and everything is in place. But then at the same time, everything can fall in place that is great, and you keep looking for something that is wrong, and it keeps you in that analysis paralysis kind of a mood. So recognizing that about myself and working with other people that don't have those kind of attributes, that are more action driven and more, so it balances out. So I'm able to analyze and then piggyback off of my action driven partners, and we balance things out and make things move.
I like how you pointed out the aspect of being too pensive and thinking too much can be detrimental, because I think
Absolutely.
all of our skills and abilities, I think they always are a two-edged sword. They can work for us and they can work against us. And
Absolutely.
I think it takes a lot of wisdom to determine the difference there. You were telling me before we started the program that you uh, are involved right now in the process of putting together another deal. Um, so tell us just a tad bit about this deal, uh, and tell us about this aspect of pensiveness and thinking, and the challenges you faced in both the good aspect of that and also the challenges that you faced in overthinking this project. But first of all,
Okay.
just give us a rundown of the project itself.
Oh, thanks, Alan, for giving me the opportunity. Well, this project is a 49 unit Class A asset in DC, in one of the fastest growing neighborhoods in DC. So we're in the final phases of raising for the property, and should be closing in a couple weeks. Mid-June is the close date. So we're very excited about this project because it's right in a local market, and we're looking forward to the opportunities that it presents for our investors. Now, talking about the pensiveness and the advantages of that is, you um, I tend to spend my spare time, because once I engage in something, like for example multifamily, my whole spare time is I'm engaged thinking of ways I could get better, thinking of creation, like constantly trying to create, constantly trying to innovate, constantly trying to make things better. So that's the advantage where the way I think comes in at. But then at the same time is especially when you match that with some kind of fear, that's when the analysis paralysis really kicks in. Because if you're coming from a space of fear, being afraid that whatever challenges you're taking up might lead to a negative result, and our minds are more negative inclined. So now you start over analyzing on the negative side, start over analyzing, building into your fear. So the analytics can build into your fear and make it grow even bigger than what it really is. So a lot of times, gotta learn to control that and learn to control the perception and see things for what they are, and not go into the over deep. It can be helpful in a lot of situations, but then it can be also detrimental, in that it preventing you from really going out there and doing what you're capable of doing.
Can you give us some specifics in conjunction with this particular project where the fear was getting in the way because of the overanalysis?
Nah, this particular project, there's no fear in this one.
Okay.
I've dealt
Okay.
with that in the past where I've looked at projects and been the fear has made me go to overanalyze and look for every kind of detail, and delayed on maybe putting in an LOI, and then somebody else went ahead and scooped the deal.
Mm.
That has happened to us once, which we learned from and develop a different process on that. But this particular project, we had no fear about, because it's an area that I'm very, very familiar with. I've analyzed all the data. I looked at the data for the market, looked at what is happening in the economy right now, look at where the property stands, look at where I've looked at all that stuff, and there is no reason, I cannot find any reason why, like a data driven reason why you should be afraid of taking the deal on the contract. So this is one where I'm fully confident, and it makes it easier too, because once you have that level of confidence and belief after going through the analysis, you believe in the project, it's much easier for you to present it to somebody else, because there's something about presenting a project that you don't fully believe about. There's an energy that comes out that it becomes difficult for the person you're trying to present it to see the value in that project. So this one is much easy. I'm very confident about, like, the project, like everything about it. So we're moving forward ahead with it.
Well, good. Congratulations on getting this deal pulled together, and looking forward to coming back to it at a later date here and finding out if it all worked out as planned. And I certainly hope it does. It's so, it's so easy to look out into the future optimistically or pessimistically, one way or the other, and the future is often quite different than the way we projected it to be.
Yeah.
So outside of your involvement in this particular project, what is it that you are currently involved in your day-to-day life? You're involved with the medical field, and you're involved with particularly aspects of the coronavirus. What's going on in DC in conjunction to the coronavirus?
Yeah, so I'm an anesthesia provider, nurse anesthetist to be exact. So what we do with the coronavirus patients, I'm part of the airway team where we manage the coronavirus patients, the ones that come in that need intubations and airway securing. So I deal with that on a daily basis as we go to work. We deal with the changes that are happening because of the coronavirus outbreak. So it's the way I look at it is, again, I shared this on a previous conversation with somebody else, and I said, when I got into real estate, because I was looking for financial freedom. Through my learnings into real estate, came across the importance of developing myself personally, through personal development, and growing my mindset. And because of that, I'm able to handle the situation much better with the COVID crisis. I go to work with an understanding that I have to focus on what I have control over. I cannot focus on the rest of the stuff. If we have 3,000 patients in my hospital or in my community, I have no control over that. I have control over what I do, how I protect myself. And I see this as truly an opportunity instead of a burden. I see it as an opportunity for me to go out there and provide value to other people. When I look at it that way, it helps with my own sanity and my own strength. It helps me with the stress of everything that's going on. So my perspective is it's a little bit different, and it helps me to be better able to deal with these situations because it's a rapidly changing situation for us in the medical community. You go in one day, the protocol is this way, and you go in the next, the protocol is this other way. So I go in with the mindset of focusing on what I have control over and understanding that, a lot of these people I see are at the lowest moments. We are there. I'm glad that I'm able to provide value to people at some of these moments, and to see that some of them are able to recover from this and go back in the community is gratifying.
So bringing all of that together, you like most people that go into real estate investing, you go into it for the purpose of developing wealth that can give you the financial freedom and the resources to actually do and be who it is that you want to be without having to be a slave to working for earnings. Where did you, and I know you have moved beyond that in terms of your investing. In fact, probably from the very beginning, there was much, much more to that and much more to your purpose than just the aspect of developing wealth. Because when we were talking last time together, and I asked you to share what your epitaph was to be, your epitaph had to do with actually leaving the world in a better place, and being here to be actually a servant to people and to the planet. When did you come to that realization that that developing financial wealth could not just give you financial liberty, but could also be a vehicle for helping to make the world a better place, essentially?
Absolutely. I've had that from a very, very young age. You got to understand, I grew up in Africa, where the disparities are very, very obvious between the haves and the have-nots, with very limited middle class, more like the wealthy and the non-wealthy. So I got to see how not having enough of the means can affect the lifestyle that you have. I got to see how not having the means can limit a lot of potential, because I went to school with a lot of kids that I look back and I think they were very, very bright people, but that never really had the full opportunity to express themselves because of the lack of means, because of the exposure that they have. So I got to understand that in order for me to fully express myself and to fully have leave value to other people, I have to develop that kind of a wealth, and with that is why this business is like so personal and so passionate for me, because it is where all of this came together. It is where I am able to do all of this. Like, I'm not just able to build wealth, I'm able to get a better understanding of myself as a person. I'm able to see how what I'm doing can lead to that path of me leaving the world a better place than the one I met, or what I'm doing can someday pick up maybe that other child that it's in that position where I saw my friends with so much potential but doesn't see things, can pick, even if it's just one person that can help them emerge from that and move forward. Or what I'm doing, I could be an example to other people by sharing my story, that this is where I came from. And if somebody else from that can see that somebody from this situation came out to this, they too can believe and look at themselves and say, I can go out there and do it. So the wealth is just the wealth so that it's to get the money so you could do something. It's not just about accumulating the money and looking at the money and feeling good about it. It's about what the money can do for you. So from a very young age, I could see how the lack of wealth can prevent people or the lack of opportunities or the lack of basic necessities can prevent people from really expressing themselves to the fullest. So that's when I developed that idea, I think, from a very young age.
You know, a lot of people coming from that kind of situation could have taken a very different path. They could have looked at that same situation that you looked at, and you looked at it with an open and compassionate heart. And there are others, and I suspect it's probably really the minority, but there are some people who look at that same situation and say, I'm going to be the wealthy person in this situation, and I don't care about the rest of the world. What was it in you that helped you to develop that compassionate and caring heart?
To be honest with you, if I told you that I knew how I developed that, I would be like, I really don't know. You know, it's just something that has been very, that has always been important to me from a very young age. I don't know if it's because of the way I grew up or if it's for something that my parents told me. I really don't know. But I've always valued the aspect of growing and growing with others. You know, to me, it's more natural when the growth you're having is having an impact on somebody else. You know, so that is the way I've always thought about it. I don't know where it came from, but that is the way I've always looked at life.
For those just tuning in, my guest today is Leslie Wanza, a real estate investor in Washington, D.C., and he's been sharing some very personal and complex aspects of his life with us today. We're coming to the end of our program once again here, and I appreciate Leslie. He engaged in an experiment today. It's the first time I tried to do this with a guest, and I appreciate him being a good sport about it. And I think it did. It took us to an interesting place in Leslie's life here. Leslie, before we conclude the program, if you would please go ahead and share how people can get in touch with you.
All right. Again, Alan, thank you very much for having me on your platform. You could get in touch with me through our website, www.x as in X-ray, SITE, that's xsitecapital.com. And we also have a Facebook group called The Exciting World of Multifamily Investing. You could join our group, and we have a meetup with the same name that we host here in the Washington, D.C. area. And now we're doing it virtually, so you could attend one of our meetings from anywhere in the country. And again, it's our website, www.xsite.com, xsitecapital.com. Thank you.
So yes, listeners, a person worthy of getting in touch to. He has heart and he has mind, and he knows how to analyze projects. So somebody you definitely want to work with. So Leslie, thanks for being on the program again today. It truly has been a pleasure once again having you as a guest.
Thanks, Alan. Thank you again. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to Creekside Chats with successful multifamily real estate investors, brought to you by Steed Talker Capital. Steed Talker Capital works with both new and established investors nationwide, creating opportunities to flourish in all areas of life. As part of our efforts to make the world a better place, Steed Talker Capital contributes to activities and organizations committed to better understand the equine. These endeavors attempt to enhance the human treatment of horses worldwide. Steed Talker Capital, working for a world where all creatures great and small flourish abundantly. For resources to enhance your well-being through multifamily real estate investment, connect with us online at capital.steedtalker.com.